company. Look at the return on capital. Okay, return on tangible assets. So tangible assets are what? Yeah, I'm going to even exclude cash. I'll do the Buffett return. Accounts receivable, inventories, and PP&E. That's the sort of capital. And then the return on that is 10 billion. So if you set up a plant to fractionate krypton, you said, I don't have $31.6 billion, but maybe I have $31 million, or maybe I have $31,000. Now, you might have some level what you have to even get started. I don't know that you can fractionate krypton or xenon with $31,000, but maybe it's $316,000. Maybe it's $3 million. So just keep multiplying by 10 and find the basic level where you can fractionate krypton or xenon or any one of their gases and say, okay, thank you, Wyatt. I want to get into this game. I want to get into the game Lindy's doing. I'm going to put up, let's say it's $3 million for one of these gas plants. I'm going to put up $3.2 million. I saved some of it I'm borrowing from the bank as a loan, small business loan, whatever it is. My rich cousin's putting up some money. Okay, so I put up 3.1 million bucks, and I can expect a 33% return because that's what Lindy gets with its corporation. They also have a bunch of fat here that I don't have. I'm going to run my company a little leaner. They're also a big, slow company. So Anthony makes the point, oh, they must have better margins. Well, look, when we were in pharma, we make fun of Pfizer. We make fun of Merck for being so stupid and so slow. I'm sure Lindy's a well-run company, but there's some product they're not exploiting to the fullest. It might be because it's a small business. Go find their smallest gas. Maybe you can run it more efficiently. You know, it's usually the bigger products that these companies ignore. Be some really rare gas that nobody plays with. And the CEO of Linde, and he's worried about selling his hydrogen. He's worried about selling his oxygen, his nitrogen, his big products. He doesn't care about, selling argon or, one of the, I don't know which one. I don't know the industry. You got to know the industry. But, you find out, okay, there's some weird gas, technetium gas, that, I don't think you could make technetium gas. Chlorine gas. I don't know what it is. So it could be a CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. It could be, it could be Freon. It could be some other weird medical gas. You find the gas that you need to make, and you put up the plant for $3 million, and assume you make even higher return than them. But, let's assume you make that 33% return. So you put up the $3 million, and you make the first year $1 million. But then the next year, you also make another $1 million, and another, and another. This is a 33% return, right? This is like having a hedge fund that's making 33%. And that's why the corporate investment is the same as the financial investment. It's the same thing in a lot of ways. That is the whole point of corporate finance, is that the factory investment and the stock investment are really the same thing at the end of the day. That is what corporate finance is all about. Are they the same thing in reality? No. Building a factory is very different from trading a stock. But if you're Warren Buffett, you're not on the factory line. You're saying, hey, guys, go build a factory. I got management to do that. So to him, it's the same calculation. So it's not so bad to make 30% like this, because he can't make 30% in the stock market. But if I can make 30% fractionating gas, that's a hell of a deal. These guys are doing it. None of Lindy's customers love Linde because it says Linde. I mean, a couple of them might. But most of them are sitting there saying, look, I'll buy it from Berkshire for cheaper. Of course I will. And if you hire a couple of old Linde people, oh, I know John from Linde. Now we're doing Mindy. John and Martin Shkreli teamed up, and we got Mindy gas. And they got Krypton for cheaper. I don't give a fuck. I'll buy from Mindy. I know. I like that guy, John. They hire another guy. Oh, Steve's selling the xenon over at Mindy. Mindy's doing great. And all of a sudden, you've got a gas company. And all of a sudden, that $1 million you're earning every year Well, the market's paying 44 times earnings. Okay? So this company, if you were to sell it to the stock market at least, not private equity is not going to pay this, but you made yourself a $44 million company. Okay? Buka plays. We're going to time out there. 5 minutes. 1 minute's fine. 1 minute's fine. 10 seconds is even fine. You don't have to. So in this case, let's say you put up 100K. Saved all your money, you put up 100K. Your other partners put up 900K. And here's your debt. You got a mix of debt from, well, let's say you got an SBA loan for 1.5 million. And then, what are we up to? Yeah, 2.5. And then you got high yields. You got a loan shark to give you the last 600K. Okay? Well, that first year, you knock out the loan shark. And you knock out 400K of the SBA loan. The next year, you knock out most of the SBA loan. When I say loan shark, I mean, you're paying 12% for this money or something. And last year, you knock out the SBA loan, and now the company is only owned by you and your partners. Pretty good. And you have cash in the bank of what, 900,000. Next year, you got cash in the bank of 1.8 million. But here's what happens. One of the partners says, hey, I put 100K in this business, so I own 10% of the business, right? You own 10%, the partners own 90%, but let's say there's 9 partners and they all put in 100K. So you've got 10 partners, each own 10%. One of the partners says, my grandma's sick or my mom's sick, I got to take my money out. I own 10% of the company. The company's worth 44 million, because I say Lindy's at 44 times earnings, so we should be 44 times earnings. And say, oh, no, I don't know about that, Steve. Our business, this is a Lindy multiple. You say, I have a friend who sold a gas company to private equity. He sold it for 8 times earnings. So it's worth more like 8 times. And he says, you know what? You're driving a hard bargain, but I'll take it. 8 times earnings. My stake is 10%. So you got to pay me off 800,000. And you say, what? Good riddance. You're gone. 800 grand it is. So year 5 runs around. You still own your 100K, but one of your partners is gone. So now, instead of owning 1/10 of the business, you own 1/9 of the business. Not bad. You have no debt. You have last year's cash balance, which was 1.8, but you had to pay the guy out for 800K, but you also made the new million. So you have 2 million now in your bank account. Next partner comes up and says, yeah, I want to cash out too, but I'm not going to take 8 times multiple like that idiot that you screwed over. Can't believe he got you to take that. I need 12 times, buddy. And you say, all good. Here's a check for 1.2 million. You returned 100 grand to 1.2. Took 5 years, but not a bad return. Okay, well, you still have your 100K, but now you're down to 700,000. And again, your cash went down as you used the money to do buyback, but you made $1 million. So your cash balance is still 1.8. Now you own 1/8 of the business. And as you can see, you could just keep doing this, and over time, your stake will go up. Now, you might have to spend money on CapEx. Here's CapEx. So this is $50,000 a year to keep that plant going. And how many years was that? That's 6 years. So we're going to take out $300,000 for CapEx. And you can see it didn't really change things too much. Even if you had to do 100K CapEx, it would have been more or less just fine. I don't think 44x is the right multiple for Lindy. I think 12x is probably the right multiple. But look at how, if you made a mini Lindy, the huge returns you would get. And, the business here, let's say maybe fair price is 15 times earnings. You own 10% of that. So you actually won more than that. You had 12.5% of that because you did the buybacks. So you're worth $2 million from your 100,000 you put in. Hell of an investment. You sell your gas company to Lindy for 20 times earnings. You cash out, almost $3 million. So you just have to know this industry. Maybe you work there for a few years. You're just a normal guy working at Lindy, doing your job. You say, wait a second, we could make a killing in Krypton. That's when you leave and you start it up. And hopefully Lindy's paid you enough money to do that. Now, somebody made the point earlier, it's not that easy. It's going to be really, really tough. Lindy's not going to be happy you left. The customers are going to say, listen, I know what you guys are doing at Mindy, and I love what you're doing. I really fully support you, but I'm not buying. And you say, if you fully support us, why don't you buy? I've known you for 20 years, Larry, John, Steve. They say, yeah, we got a pretty good relationship with the Lindy guy, and turns out I'm fucking the CEO's daughter, so yeah, it ain't happening, buddy. Pound sand. And you're going to get a lot of those. But, you're not looking for $33 billion in revenue like Lindy has. You're looking for $3 million in revenue. So you got to find the right niche and just get it just right. And I did this in pharma. I did this in pharma. Vivek did it in pharma. At some point, Lindy probably did this itself. And what's the delta? Well, you make good deals. You treat your people right. You treat your customers right. And, the rest will take care of itself. But it's not easy. I don't want to give you the illusion that it's easy. You might be sitting there looking at your factory saying, I can't believe I spent $3 million on this thing. And it's just sitting there and the workers are standing there. When are we going to sell any of this shit? I thought you said you knew what you were doing. Fuck this guy. Or they unionize or something like that happens. It's not easy. But that's why experience matters. A lot of these younger guys starting up companies, they got more energy than I do. They're smarter than I am. But experience matters too. You've seen more. You know how to treat a person. You know how to pay a person and motivate a person. You know the market really well. You've seen mistakes. You've made mistakes. That helps. And you want those younger people to work with. Because you mentor them, you teach them. They teach you some tricks. You teach them your tricks. Everybody's doing tricks. And it's a symbiotic relationship. I can't work to midnight every night like I used to. That's a lie. I still can. But in 5 or 10 years, I just can't do that. My heart's going to give out. Got to pay attention to my wife and kids. I can't just go crazy. So better for me to, let some of those guys have some upside